Good evening, everyone. Your host Nosipho Ntshangase on your favorite show, The View. Today we're gonna be talking about a very interesting topic. We're gonna be talking about the theories. On our today's show, we have our very own guest, Miss Mbuyane, who's gonna be talking about what is gender according to sociologists, and Miss Nqayi, who's gonna be adding on what she said. We also have Miss Nondumo, who's going to be talking about the conflict theory, and Miss Ndlovu, who's going to be telling us about the functionalist theory. And we also have Miss Mokwena, also as Miss Mthembu, who's going to be doing us a gender roles. They're going to be acting us the monologue about the gender role. We also have our beautiful charts here. Miss Mbuyane, how are you today?
Fine, thanks to sociologist. Okay, good evening, Nosipho. Good evening to the viewers at home and also to the audience. According to sociology, we make a distinction between sex and gender. Sex are the biological traits to the societies used to assign people into a category of either male or female. Whether it's be through a focus on chronomers, genitalia, or some other physical assumption. When people talk about differences between men and women, they are often drawing on sex. Gender is more fluid. It may not only depend on the biological traits. More specifically, it is a concept that describes how societies determine and manage sex categories, the cultural meanings attached to men and women roles, and how individuals understand their identities, including but not limited on being man, women, transgender, intersex, genderqueer, and other gender positions. Okay, so gender involves social norms, attitudes, and activities that societies deems more appropriate for one sex over another. So basically, gender is also determined by what an individual feels or does.
Very interesting, Miss Mbuyane. Thank you for enlightening us about this one. Miss Nqayi, don't you want to add on what she said?
Definitely, I'll add on, and good evening to everyone who's here, our panel, the host, and to all the audience and the viewers at home. So I'll briefly explain a bit on gender. Sociology of gender examines how society influences our understandings and perception of difference between masculinity, which is what society deems appropriate as to how men should behave, and again, behavior of a woman, which is referred to as femininity. We examine how this in turn influences identity and social practices. Sex and gender don't always align, but for some people it does. When it comes to transgender people, this is not the same case, which is why a bill allowing for an individual self-declared gender identity to be recognized irregardless of their biological sex. Transgender people will undergo a hormone therapy to facilitate this process, but not all transgender people will have surgery. Intersexuality describe variation on sex definitions related to ambiguous genital, sex, organs, chromosomes, or hormones. Transgender and intersexuality are gender categories, not sexualities.
So the viewers at home, you can also catch us on Twitter. The handle is TheView_SA, and also you can catch us on WhatsApp and leave us voice messages. Our number is 076-398-7318. Okay, Miss Nondumo Bengu, how are you today? I'm fine. Welcome to the show. Miss Nondumo is going to be talking about the conflict theory. Miss Nondumo, what is gender according to the conflict theory?
Conflict theory can be held as a struggle between dominant group, which has the tool of production, and worker class, which is exploited by dominant one. Okay. Karl Marx is the father of conflict theory, and his colleague Friedrich Engels moved this idea and applied to the family structure. The functionalist perspective sees society as a complex system whose parts work together to persuade solidarity and stability. This approach looks at society through a micro-level orientation, which is a broad focus on the social functions. This theory suggests that gender inequality exists as an efficient way to create a division of labor, or as a social system in which particular segments are clearly responsible for certain respective acts of labor. The division of labor works to maximize the resources and efficiency. This view has been criticized for refining rather than rectifying gender role, while gender roles, according to functionalism perspective, are beneficial in that they contribute to the stable social relations. Many argue that gender roles are discriminatory and should not be upheld. The feminist movement, which was on the rise at the same time that functionalism began to decline, workers the position that functionalism neglects the suppression of a woman than the family structure.
So the conflict, are you saying, Ms. Nondumo, are you saying the conflict theory is better than the functionalist view?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ms. Lobo, what is gender according to the functionalist view?
Functionalism is a framework for building theory that sees society as a complex system whose parts work together to promote solidarity and stability. The theory suggests that gender inequalities exist as an efficient way to create a division of labor, or as a social system in which a particular segment of the population is clearly responsible for certain acts of labor, and another segment is clearly responsible for another acts of labor. A structural functionalist view of gender inequalities apply that the division of labor is predefined. Gender refers as complementary. We have women and men. Women take care of the homes while men provide for the families. The division of the labor. The division of labor between men and women is that men were hunters and gatherers, while women were taking care of the households. Men were the ones going out, were doing the outside chores, and women were doing work that was like taking care of the family and being mothers and nursing. The Marxist feminist perspective, however, viewed equality for men and women as being dependent on social conditions rather than being inherited.
So Ms. Nondumo said a conflict theory succeeded a functional theory when it comes to gender. Do you agree with her? Because a functional theory is kind of like the old system where women would stay at home and men would go to the cities to look for job. Nondumo said a conflict theory. So, Ms. Ndovu, are you saying the functionalist view is the one with a division of labor?
Yes.
And it is kind of like the old way or the old system where men had to go to the cities and look for job, and women stay at home to look for kids and blah blah blah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with what Ms. Bengi's just said.
Yes,
about
I
it.
totally agree with the conflict theory, because nowadays both men and women are working classes. They both provide for the family. It's not necessarily the woman taking care of the family and just the men providing for the family. Nowadays it's equal.
Ms. Nondumo, do you feel men and women should be given equal chances?
Yes.
Why?
Because when it comes to it's not always about the physical appearance.
Okay.
Now we're talking about the skills that we have. Usually women always do have more skills, but then they're being oppressed by that belief that only a man that can.
Good day, everyone. My name is Sulile Mbonambi, and I'm going to express myself on conflict theory. Conflict theory states that society is a struggle for dominance among social groups. For example, women versus men that compete for scarce resources. Furthermore, sociologists have examined gender from this perspective of conflict theory, and they concluded that men viewed as the dominant group and women are viewed as subordinate group. Therefore, my opinion, based on conflict theory, social problems within gender, men and women are created when dominant groups such as men exploit or express subordinate group like women. Moreover, consider women's suffrage movement on a debate over their right to choose their reproductive future. It is difficult for women to rise above men as dominant group members, create the rules for success and opportunity in society. In conclusion, conflict theory has been criticized for its overemphasis on the economic basis for inequality and its assumptions that there are competition between family members. I thank you.
Do such thing.
Everyone at home who are tuning in this show, we are moving on now to Miss Mkwena as well as Miss Ntshembu, who's going to be depicting us the monologue about gender roles. Miss Mkwena and Miss Ntshembu, please come forward.
I am a woman. My priority is my family, my home. I should see to it that everything at home goes well. I am expected to obey to my husband's instruction. I am supposed to take care of our children and make sure all the house chores are done. My husband is the head of the family. As a mother, I am expected to be an educator and supervisor of the youth, to provision them with spiritual and physical strength to fight for challenges today and to make them for nation.
And we have Mr. Ntshembu, who's going to be depicting the gender role for men.
Okay, I am the man. I am the head of this house, and everybody in this house have to do all the instructions, and nobody is supposed to go anywhere without my permission. As a man, I am a teacher, which means it is important to provide good example to my family. I am a protector, protecting and guiding my family against threats and other things that my family values. As a man, I'm expected to do the dirty, dangerous jobs, to work longer hours even when children are born, to sacrifice my family life and leisure time so that my wife or partner doesn't have to do all the things. And there are some of the messages that we get that men don't cry, they don't feel the pain, and they do not hit their women. And the last point is that men are not beautiful, but they are smart.
Give it up for Mr. Ntshembu.
Ntshangase for the opportunity. I'll be talking about the critiques of the functionalist view of gender. Firstly, roles such as men provide food for their families were overemphasized in theories. More recent studies shows that hunting, fishing, and hard work are vastly performed by men. Therefore, they played much larger role in providing food for the families. According to Pearson's theory, a successful family needs to have defined skills sets that men and women complement each other, and gender allows this to occur. It assumes what a family should be like. For example, men have to provide and women have to take care of the children, cook and clean. Unfortunately, all families do not have a male figure and some families do not have a female figure. In modern society, families including same-sex couples and single parents, therefore, we are unable to assume that men work to provide food for the women and take care of children because all families differ. Therefore, the role changes. For example, women may work and take care of the children and vice versa. The theory argues the personal and social cost of upholding these gender roles. It can be argued that men working to provide for their families can be seen as inequality, and therefore it gives power over women. Thank you.
Our beautiful guest has represented a beautiful collage which represents in a functionalist view, and a conflict view, what is gender according to sociologists, and gender roles, and also their critiques. This side represents what is gender according to sociologists, and this side represents a conflict view and a functionalist view. And also for this side, there are critiques about the views and also the gender roles. This chart was made for you at home to understand better the topic of today. Thank you.